The mountains of Sinaloa, Mexico are a breeding ground for poverty and hardship. This region, with its rugged terrain and isolated communities, has long been a place where survival is a daily struggle. The harsh environment shapes the lives of those who live there, creating a backdrop of adversity that few can escape. This unforgiving landscape birthed Joaquín Archibaldo Guzmán Loera in 1957. Born into a world where opportunities were scarce, Guzmán's early years were marked by the relentless challenges of rural life. His family, like many others in the region, struggled to make ends meet. Known to the world as El Chapo, meaning shorty, his physical stature belied a towering ambition. Despite his small frame, Guzmán possessed a fierce determination and a keen intellect that would later propel him to infamy. His nickname, given to him during his youth, would become synonymous with one of the most notorious drug lords in history. Guzmán's childhood was one of scarcity. Growing up in a large family, he experienced firsthand the struggles of poverty. Basic necessities were often out of reach, and the family had to rely on each other to get by. This environment fostered a sense of resilience and resourcefulness in young Joaquín. He sold oranges to help his family survive. From a young age, Guzmán learned the value of hard work and the importance of contributing to the family's income. This early experience in street vending taught him essential skills in negotiation and entrepreneurship, which he would later apply in the drug trade. Education was a luxury he couldn't afford, leaving him with little opportunity in a region where the drug trade offered a seductive path to power. The lack of formal education limited his prospects, but it also pushed him towards alternative means of achieving success. The allure of quick money and the promise of a better life were hard to resist. Guzmán's early life was a crash course in survival. Navigating the treacherous paths of his homeland, he developed a keen sense of awareness and adaptability. These traits would become crucial in his later endeavors, as he maneuvered through the dangerous world of drug trafficking. The rugged terrain instilled in him a cunning and resilience that would define his rise to power. The challenges of his environment honed his instincts and prepared him for the cutthroat nature of the drug trade. Guzmán's ability to navigate both the physical and social landscapes of his world set him apart from his peers. He witnessed firsthand the allure of the drug trade as it infiltrated his community. The presence of drug cartels in Sinaloa was impossible to ignore, and their influence was felt in every aspect of life. For many young men like Guzmán, the cartels represented a way out of poverty and a chance to achieve power and respect. The cartels offered wealth and influence, a stark contrast to the poverty he sought to escape. The promise of financial security and social status was a powerful draw, and Guzmán was no exception. He saw the success of those involved in the drug trade and was determined to carve out his own path to prosperity. It was a path that promised a way out, but at a terrible cost. The decision to enter the world of drug trafficking came with significant risks and moral compromises. For Guzmán, the choice was clear, and it set him on a trajectory that would lead to both immense power and inevitable downfall. The whispers of easy money lured Guzmán into the underworld. He started as a low-level operative for the Guadalajara Cartel, one of the earliest Mexican drug trafficking organizations. His role was simple transport marijuana across the border into the United States. Each successful run fueled his ambition, proving his worth in a world that valued ruthlessness and loyalty. His work ethic and ability to deliver under pressure did not go unnoticed. The cartel recognized his potential, promoting him through the ranks. He gained a reputation for efficiency and a willingness to use violence to protect shipments. This combination of business acumen and brutality would become his trademark. The 1980s saw the rise of cocaine trafficking as the most lucrative criminal enterprise. Guzmán seized this opportunity, expanding his operations and influence within the cartel. He forged alliances with Colombian suppliers, establishing direct routes for cocaine to flow into the United States. His empire grew, and with it, his reputation for violence. Rival cartels became obstacles in Guzmán's pursuit of dominance. He waged war against his enemies, employing brutal tactics that shocked even the most hardened criminals. Massacres, assassinations, and bombings became commonplace as he sought to eliminate competition and solidify his control over the drug trade. His name, El Chapo, became synonymous with fear and power. Guzmán's rise was fueled by a potent mix of violence and corruption. He understood that power was not just about brute force, but also the ability to influence and control. He cultivated relationships with politicians, police officers, and judges, using bribes and intimidation to secure his empire. This web of corruption ensured his protection and allowed him to operate with impunity. His ruthlessness knew no bounds. He ordered the deaths of anyone he perceived as a threat, from rival cartel members to informants and even family members of his enemies. These killings were often public and theatrical, designed to send a chilling message to anyone who dared to challenge him. Fear became his most powerful weapon, paralyzing opposition and consolidating his control over the drug trade. Behind bars, but not for long, the first escape. In 1993, Guzmán's reign of terror seemed to come to an end when he was captured in Guatemala and extradited to Mexico. The arrest was a significant victory for law enforcement, who had been tirelessly pursuing him for years. Guzmán, known for his cunning and ruthlessness, was finally behind bars, and many believed that his capture would mark the end of his criminal empire. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison for drug trafficking and murder. The courtroom was filled with a sense of relief as the judge handed down the sentence, believing that justice had been served. Guzmán was sent to a maximum security prison, where it was thought he would be unable to continue his operations. However, imprisonment proved to be a minor inconvenience for El Chapo. Despite the high walls and strict security measures, Guzmán remained undeterred. His determination to regain his freedom and continue his illicit activities never wavered. He continued to run his empire from behind bars, using bribes and threats to maintain control over his cartel. The prison walls did little to contain his influence, as he managed to communicate with his associates and orchestrate operations from his cell. Guards and prison staff were not immune to his reach, often finding themselves on his payroll. In 2001, after serving only 8 years of his sentence, Guzmán orchestrated a daring escape. The meticulous planning and execution of the escape highlighted his resourcefulness and the extent of his network. Time seemed to be on his side as he carefully plotted his way out. He bribed prison guards and staff, securing his passage out of the maximum security prison. The corruption within the prison system was laid bare as those meant to keep him confined became his accomplices. The guards, motivated by greed or fear, facilitated his escape, opening doors that should have remained locked. Details of his escape remain shrouded in mystery, but it is widely believed that he simply walked out of the prison gates disguised as a laundry worker, a testament to the depth of his corruption and influence. The audacity of the escape left many in shock, as it underscored the challenges of containing such a powerful and resourceful criminal. Guzmán's first escape was a clear indication that his story was far from over. The hunt resumes, back in business. His escape was a humiliating blow to the Mexican government and sparked an international manhunt. The United States offered a $5 million reward for information leading to his capture. However, Guzmán seemed to vanish into thin air, returning to the mountains of Sinaloa, where he resumed control of his cartel. Under his leadership, the Sinaloa Cartel became a global enterprise, trafficking drugs to every corner of the world. Guzmán's wealth and notoriety grew, cementing his status as one of the most powerful and dangerous criminals in the world. A short-lived victory recapture and a daring escape. In 2014, after 13 years on the run, Guzmán was recaptured in a joint operation between Mexican and U.S. authorities. This operation was the culmination of years of intelligence gathering, surveillance, and cooperation between the two nations. The capture was a testament to the relentless pursuit by law enforcement agencies who had been tracking Guzmán's movements across various regions. He was apprehended at a hotel in Mazatlan, Mexico, a picturesque seaside resort town known for its beautiful beaches and vibrant nightlife. The arrest took place in the dead of night, catching Guzmán off guard and ensuring minimal resistance. His capture was hailed as a major victory in the war on drugs, a sign that even the most elusive criminals could not outrun the law forever. The news of his arrest spread like wildfire, and there were celebrations among law enforcement agencies. Press conferences were held, and officials proudly displayed the handcuffs that had finally restrained the infamous drug lord. However, Guzmán's taste of freedom would be short-lived. Despite the high security measures, the clock was already ticking on his next move. Guzmán, known for his cunning and resourcefulness, was already plotting his escape. In 2015, he escaped again, this time from the Altiplano maximum security prison, considered one of the most secure prisons in Mexico. The prison, with its towering walls and state-of-the-art surveillance systems, was thought to be impenetrable. His escape involved a mile-long tunnel dug into the shower of his cell, complete with lighting, ventilation, and a motorcycle on rails. The tunnel was a marvel of engineering, showcasing the lengths to which Guzmán's associates would go to secure his freedom. It was a meticulously planned operation that took months, if not years, to execute. The audacity of his escape shocked the world and exposed the deep-rooted corruption within the Mexican government. The news coverage was relentless, with every detail of the escape being scrutinized. It was a stark reminder of the challenges faced in the fight against organized crime and the pervasive influence of corruption. The walls close in El Chapo's final stand. Guzmán's second escape was a national embarrassment for Mexico. The government launched a massive manhunt, pouring resources into recapturing the fugitive kingpin. The pressure mounted as authorities closed in on his inner circle, arresting associates and seizing assets. In January 2016, Guzmán was finally apprehended in Los Mochis, Sinaloa, after a fierce gun battle with Mexican Marines. He was captured in a sewer, his reign of terror brought to an end. This time there would be no escape. He was extradited to the United States in 2017 to face charges of drug trafficking, money laundering, and murder. Legacy of a Kingpin: Impact and Aftermath. El Chapo's final capture marked the end of an era. His reign exposed the deep-seated corruption and violence that plagued Mexico's drug war. His cartel left a trail of blood and suffering in its wake, devastating communities and fueling addiction. His imprisonment brought a semblance of justice but did little to curb the flow of drugs. The Sinaloa Cartel, though weakened, continues to operate. Guzmán's capture serves as a reminder of the complex challenges in combating drug trafficking and the need for comprehensive solutions that address the root causes of this illicit trade.